So my one other question is, all spiritual traditions, from what I can tell, have such a root kernel of truth, and then often there's some distortion and misunderstanding over time.
But the kernel, forget about the kernel. Forget about the beginning of it, because the beginning of it is old. The beginning of it isn't up to speed. It isn't up to date. It isn't current, you see. So to the degree that someone who is translating is in vibrational alignment with what source now is expressing, to that degree, whatever that is rooted in sourciness. .com. Someone call Mark, quick.
So it seems that out of the vortex people often tend to find a way of misinterpreting teachings over time, or find a way of using it in resistant ways. So
well, everyone means well, but most everyone is very conditional. It isn't the easiest thing in the world to live in an environment where you're surrounded by conditions and not be affected by those conditions. And until you put ahead of the conditions a determination to feel the alignment, that's why when you, and you did, brought this to such a wonderful apex, such a place of clarity, we stayed there for a minute and said, let's feel, let's give more words to that, let's activate that feeling in a stronger way. What does that feel like? It feels like sureness, it feels like fun, it feels like enlightenment, it feels like lightness, it feels like lightheartedness, it feels like clarity, it feels like fullness, it feels like wholeness, it feels like who I really am, it feels like allness, it feels like flexibility, it feels like readiness, it feels like good timing, it feels like aliveness. Find those feelings and practice the feeling of them, and practice it as often as you can, and look into environments and conditions as much as you can for things that you appreciate that cause you to feel that way, until you own that vibration, until that is your most practiced set point, until that's where you go, that's where you go, that's where you go, that's where you go most easily. Because when that's where you go most easily, then your off times usually don't last that long. Something brings you back into alignment. In other words, it's not days of discord and days of dysfunction. It's seconds or brief snatches in time while you're rediscovering your alignment from your new framework of stronger asking, which source has already closed the gap, filled the gap on, and you now could be, if you wanted to be, in the receptive mode of experiencing the full see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it version of your new expansion. And that's what you all came for. You came, oh, some of you must be thinking, blah, blah, blah. Do we have to talk about consciousness for one more minute? Vibration, blah, blah, blah. I just came to be in this body to enjoy my life experience. And that really is what you are here for. You are here to enjoy the experience of being the deliberate creator that you really are. Yeah.
So if there's one misunderstanding or distortion that occurs most with your teaching that you could sort of call out and clarify for us and help us have a reminder to stay aligned to this, is there something that you'd want to offer in that direction?
Well, the thing that we would most encourage you to care about is how you feel. We would far rather have Esther care about how she's feeling than the fact that she can't find her bag. And we would like her to be able to disassociate the feeling from the bag. We would like her feeling to be unconditional. We were happy when she found relief. But we would have also liked it if she had never found that bag and she had found relief anyway.
Yeah.
Someone's stealing it right now. No. Because as long as you are tied to a condition, then you are mostly out of control. But when what you're reaching for is the alignment that is indicated by the emotion that you feel, now you're free to move about in the receptive mode with broader view guiding you. In other words, you can't get it wrong and you never get it done. You can't get it wrong and you never get it done. And you never get it done and you cannot get it wrong. And you cannot get it wrong, and you never get it done, and you never get it done, and you cannot get it wrong. It's going to take a while. You can't get it wrong. You never get it done, you can't get it wrong. So what did you last ask us? What was that?
I said, what is the biggest misunderstanding you see of these teachings, and what is the one thing to remember that will keep us from doing that, from losing kind of the focus of what this is really all about?
The way I feel need not be tied to conditions, but that's not the best way of saying it. I want to be unconditional in my alignment. And almost no one is for very long. Because the conditions have your attention. You've let the conditions matter too much. And so, we get it. You're here. You've been living in conditions. The conditions of finance, the conditions of relationship, the conditions of environment. You are on the leading edge. We get it. And there's another seeming contradiction, because we began today by telling you, by agreeing with you, that you're here for the creation of the cars and the relationships and the homes and the life and the good feeling experiences. In other words, we like you to create conditions that are pleasing to you. We just don't want those conditions to be what matters most. We want how you feel to be what matters most, and we want you to put the feeling before the conditions, because if you put the conditions first, you never get there. Not really. So that is the biggest misunderstanding. The biggest misunderstanding is, all right, I'm going to go to this Abraham gathering, and Abraham has all this information about the laws of the universe, and in going there, I will be able to discover how to create a life experience that I can then feel good about. That's the misunderstanding. Because what this is about is, I'm going to an Abraham seminar where infinite intelligence is explaining the laws of the universe, so that I can discover the bliss of being in the receptive mode, so that I can experience in now, the awareness that Source has about where I am. Because what you want is alignment and being here. What you want is alignment and driving that Audi R8. That's what you want. Not just driving the Audi R8. You want alignment and driving the Audi R8. You want alignment in your sexual intertwining. You want alignment in your conversations. You want alignment. You want alignment and then, alignment and then, and alignment and then. Not then, which may help me to be aligned. That is the biggest misunderstanding. It's the cart before the horse thing.
Thank you. Really good.
Yeah, it is. It was really good.
That's it.
Thank you. Couldn't be better. Yes.
For years, I had a really troubled relationship with my mother, and we didn't speak for 2 years, and I tried to apologize to her, but I wasn't ready. And as you said, words don't teach, action teaches. And finally, I was ready, and we have the most wonderful relationship now. It's so amazing, and she's coming on the Alaskan cruise, which I never thought, and I just love her, and my childhood memories are nothing but wonderful. And my question now is, I keep having these relationships that come into my life that are oddly similar to the relationships that I had with her. And I know you've talked about cleaning up your vibration to have these people go away, that you can't just that it's my attracting them, and that I can't, if they're rascals, they're going to come into your life no matter what, and then I'm attracting them.
Do you think your mother changed, or do you think you found a vibration that evoked a different part of her?
I think I found a relationship that evoked a different part of her.
So do that with these other guys too.
So how do I do that? How do I clean up my vibration?
How'd you do it with her?
Originally, because this was before I started listening to you.
Do you hear the power of this? This is the thing that most people don't know, a lot of people don't want to know, but the way people be with you is mostly about your expectation of them. So you are a powerful component in the creation of the way their personality dovetails with yours. Mm-hmm. And so you set us up for a really easy answer when you said, didn't get along with my mother, and then I did. And so it's the same two people with two different relationships. And we want you to take credit, responsibility for the change. Because if you say, oh, my mother changed and then it was easier for me to appreciate her, then you need everybody to do all the changing. But when you accept that it was your perspective of her that changed, so that you began practicing a significantly different vibration relative to her, so that your relationship could be allowed by you to be what you really wanted it to be. And the same is true with others.
But everything was lifted. I mean, I feel such a great love. And before I was like, I just want her to die so I get all of her money. I mean, that was my attitude towards her. And now I mean, seriously, to be totally honest. And now I want her to live to be 100. I feel such growth, and I can't with these other people.
Well, it doesn't matter what you use as your excuse to deny yourself alignment to who you are. It
Right.
always feels bad. And so that's the thing that we want you to hear in this, that it's not about your mother, and it's not about the other people. It's not about those relationships.
No, I don't blame them. I know it's myself.
About you factoring them in on your alignment or not alignment. That's the key factor, your alignment or your not alignment.
Because it's almost addiction to these other people. It's like I need them in my life for excitement or drama.
It's not addiction, it's law of attraction holding them to you because of your attention to. In other words, you're the one that's keeping that vibration active.
And how do I get rid of it? That's what I'm saying.
By no longer keeping that vibration active.
I know, but how do I stop it from being active?
By making another vibration be active instead.
I know, but how do I make that another?
By caring about how you feel enough to figuring it out.
No, I understand that, but how do I get to that other vibration? With this person, right now there's a person in my life that has acted as my assistant, and, you know,
sometimes separating yourself from the condition gives you a freer space to find alignment, but you always take yourself with you.
That's what I mean.
So if you separate yourself so that it's easier for you to not think about it.
From the person.
From whatever the condition is that's got you all wadded up. If you put some distance between you and that condition, it is often easier for you to find the clear space. But none of these people are in the room right now, and you won't stop talking about them.
Exactly. That's how I want to get away from them.
So you've already separated yourself from them, but they're still active in this conversation. Right. So stop it.
Right. Okay.
So understanding that with law of attraction, it's all about inclusion. There's no exclusion.
There's no exclusion.
So
right.
You cannot push something that you don't want away. So when you say, this is bothering me, what you're actually doing is practicing a vibration that holds that in your experience. And everyone has that. Every now and again, Esther will say, what the hell? Because it's sloppy thinking is what it is. It's allowing someone else to control your vibration because you don't have the self-discipline to control it yourself. So what you do is you develop the self-discipline when it's easier to do it, like right before you go to sleep or after rampages of appreciation. But understanding how it all works really helps. It's really an important step in the process. So you might even find yourself saying to someone, is it obvious to the other person that, in other words, is the friction mutual? Does the other person adore you and
No.
you have problems with the other person?
No, it's always the person that doesn't adore me that I pick. That's abusive. That's why they're attractive to me.
So that means your expectation is there in some way.
It's like, well, I can make this person. It was like,
But did you hear what you just said?
Oh.
It's always the abusive person that picks me.
no, that I pick.
It's always the abusive person that I pick.
Right, that's law of attraction. That's why I was asking how to break that cycle with the next person.
So what that means
I mean, my
is,
husband is wonderful, thank goodness. These are all people, like work people, or I don't know how I got my husband. I mean, that's... Thank gosh, that's 25 years of happiness.
well, if you would focus more upon that and less upon the other,
Yeah.
then the vibration would shift. So you're helping us to have a really good conversation about something that is so central to everything that we talk about. We began today talking about expectation. There's a vibration which you translate into word and emotion. And if you do it enough, it becomes a belief, an expectation.